Forensic Dialectics of the Manila Vice President's Impeachment, Possible Outcomes, Analytical Essay. 1. Introduction. A forensic moment in Philippine political history. The Manila Vice President now faces an unprecedented convergence of 3 impeachment pre-trials, each escalating in evidentiary complexity. The latest round, featuring Anti-Money Laundering Council, AMLC data, SALN-related subpoenas by the Ombudsman, and testimony from a former senator, has intensified scrutiny. Added to this is the Vice President's attempt to travel abroad for 22 days, which critics frame as potential evasion and supporters frame as routine official mobility. This essay examines forensic outcomes, meaning outcomes derived from evidence-based reasoning, procedural rigor, and dialectical opposing interpretations of the same facts. It does not offer political opinions. Instead, it synthesizes publicly reported information and contrasts competing narratives. 2. Forensic evidence under scrutiny. 1. SALN discrepancies and unexplained wealth allegations. The House Committee on Justice subpoenaed the Ombudsman and present SALNs to verify allegations of unexplained wealth. The committee argues that pre-2022 SALNs are relevant to determine whether later declarations accurately reflect accumulated assets from Manila Bulletin. Dialectical tension. Pro-impeachment view. Patterns of asset growth inconsistent with declared income constitute betrayal of public trust. Defense view, SALN. Interpretation is subjective. Discrepancies may reflect aggregation, timing, or accounting differences rather than wrongdoing. Manila Bulletin 2. AMLC-related financial data reports indicate that AMLC-linked figures were presented in aggregate form, which the defense argues can be misleading without context. Manila Bulletin dialectical tension. Pro-impeachment view. Large or irregular financial flows raise red flags consistent with money laundering typologies. Defense view. Aggregated AMLC data cannot establish intent, illegality, or personal benefit without granular breakdowns. 3. Testimony from high-profile witnesses. At least 5 resource persons, including Ombudsman Remola and former Senator Trillanes, were scheduled to testify on SALN discrepancies and alleged hidden wealth from abs-cbn.com. Dialectical tension. Pro-impeachment view. Testimony from institutional authorities strengthens probable cause. Defense view. Testimony is not proof. Only a Senate impeachment court can determine credibility and admissibility. 4. Attempted 22-day foreign travel. The Vice President's attempt to travel abroad for 22 days became symbolically charged. Dialectical tension. Pro-impeachment view. Long foreign travel during active impeachment proceedings may signal avoidance or disregard for accountability. Defense view. Travel is routine for high-ranking officials. Clearance disputes are administrative, not impeachable. 3. Procedural context. The Senate as the forensic tribunal. Senate leadership has stated that once the House transmits the articles of impeachment, the Senate will act forthwith, potentially convening as an impeachment court within days. Manila Bulletin Manila Standard Key Forensic Implications. Evidence must withstand cross-examination, not just public perception. The Senate will rely on rules of court, legal staff, and retired justices for clarificatory questions. Philstar.com. Claims of bias have been rejected by Senate leaders who emphasize evidence-based adjudication from Manila Standard. 4. Forensic dialectics, opposing interpretations of the same evidence. A. Interpretation of wealth. Data. Pro-impeachment, SALN inconsistencies plus AMLC, aggregates equals pattern of unexplained wealth. Defense, SALN and AMLC, data require expert contextualization, discrepancies do not equal guilt. B. Interpretation of witness testimony. Pro-impeachment, testimony from Ombudsman and former senators strengthens the case. Defense, testimony is preliminary, Only the Senate can test credibility. C. Interpretation of travel attempt. Pro-impeachment. Travel suggests avoidance or poor judgment. Defense. Travel disputes are administrative and not grounds for impeachment. D. Interpretation of procedural speed. Pro-impeachment. Swift proceedings reflect urgency and seriousness. Defense. Speed risks, trial by publicity, and procedural shortcuts. 5. Possible forensic outcomes. Outcome 1. Full acquittal. Basis. Senate finds insufficient evidence of betrayal of public trust. SALN and AMLC data deemed inconclusive or misinterpreted. Witness testimony fails to establish intent or wrongdoing. Forensic reasoning. Acquittal occurs if evidence does not meet the constitutional threshold for removal. Outcome 2. Acquittal with institutional recommendations. Basis DK. Senate identifies procedural or administrative lapses but not impeachable offenses. Recommendations may include improved SALN auditing or travel clearance protocols. Forensic reasoning. This outcome acknowledges issues without assigning constitutional culpability. Outcome 3. Partial censure or reprimand, non-removal. Basis. Senate finds minor violations or ethical lapses but not enough for removal. Forensic reasoning. Censure is a political legal compromise when evidence is mixed. Outcome 4. Conviction and removal from office basis. Senate concludes that SALN discrepancies, AMLC data, and testimony collectively demonstrate betrayal of public trust. Forensic reasoning. Conviction requires a 2/3 Senate vote and a clear evidentiary narrative linking financial irregularities to constitutional violations. Outcome 5. Hung Senate/inconclusive trial. Basis ego. Senate fails to reach the required 2/3 vote. Forensic reasoning. This results in acquittal by default, but leaves political and institutional questions unresolved. Six. Conclusion. A forensic crossroads. The Manila Vice President's impeachment trajectory sits at the intersection of evidence, interpretation, and institutional procedure. The forensic lens reveals that outcomes depend not only on the data presented, SALN's AMLC aggregates witness testimony, but on how these are contextualized, challenged, and validated within the Senate impeachment court. The dialectical nature of the case ensures that every piece of evidence carries two narratives, one pointing toward constitutional violation, the other toward misinterpretation or political overreach. The final outcome will hinge on which narrative the Senate finds more forensically defensible. 1. Forensic context/konteksto ng investigasyon, EN. The three impeachment pre-trials create a high-stakes forensic environment where financial records, witness testimony, and administrative behavior are examined for patterns of misconduct. TL. Ang tatlong pre-trial impeachment ay nagbubukas ng mataas na antas na forensic na pagsusuri kung saan tinitingnan ang financial records, testimonya, at kilos administratibo para sa posibleng pattern ng paglabag. 2. Key evidence issues/pangunahing isyong evidential A, SALN discrepancies/pagkakaiba sa SALN-EN. Critics argue that asset growth does not match declared income. TL, sabi ng mga kritiko, hindi tugma ang paglaki ng yaman sa deklaradong kita. Dialectical tension. English, possible unexplained wealth laban sa normal accounting variations. Tagalog, posibleng unexplained wealth laban sa karaniwang pagkakaiba sa accounting. B. AMLC-related financial data/datos mula sa AMLCEN, aggregated financial flows were presented, raising questions about irregular transactions. TL, iniharap ang pinagsama-samang datos ng transaksyon na nagdulot ng tanong tungkol sa posibleng irregularidad. Dialectical tension. English, red flags consistent with money laundering patterns versus incomplete context. Tagalog, mga red flag na kahawig ng money laundering laban sa kulang ang konteksto. C. Senator's testimony/testimonya ng Senador A. Senator testified on alleged inconsistencies and patterns of behavior. Nagbigay ng testimonya ang isang senador tungkol sa umano'y mga inconsistency at pattern ng kilos. Dialectical tension. EN. Strengthens probable cause. Laban sa testimony is not yet tested under a cross-examination. TL. Nagpapalakas ng probable cause laban sa hindi pa nasusubok sa cross-examination. D. 22-day foreign travel attempt/22 araw na pagbiyahe sa ibang bansa. The Vice President attempted to travel abroad during active proceedings. Nagbalak bumiyahe ang Vice Presidente habang may aktibong proseso. Dialectical tension. Possible avoidance laban sa routine official travel. Posibleng pag-iwas laban sa normal na biyahe opisyal. 3. Forensic dialectics/mga magkabaligtad na interpretasyon at AAA. Interpretation of wealth. Data/pagbasa sa datos ng yaman pattern of misconduct versus benign financial movement. TL. Pattern ng paglabag laban sa normal na galaw pinansyal. B. Interpretation of travel/pagbasa sa pagbiyahe. Attempt to evade scrutiny laban sa administrative misunderstanding. Pagtakas sa investigasyon laban sa simpleng aberya sa clearance. C. Interpretation of speed of proceedings/bilis ng proseso urgency for accountability laban sa risk of procedural shortcuts. Kagyat na pananagutan laban sa panganib ng procedural shortcuts. 4. Mga posibleng kinalabasan, forensic outcome, 1. Full acquittal/ganap na. Pag-absuelto evidence insufficient, inconsistencies deemed non-impeachable, kulang ang ebidensya, hindi sapat para sa impeachment. Outcome 2. Pag-absuelto na may rekomendasyon administrative lapses noted but not constitutional violations. May lapses pero hindi umaabot sa paglabag sa konstitusyon. Outcome 3. Pagsita o pagsasaway ethical issues found but not enough for removal. May ethical na issue pero hindi sapat para tanggalin sa pwesto. Outcome 4. Pagkakasala at pagkatanggal sa pwesto. Senate finds a clear pattern of betrayal of public trust. Makita ng Senado ang malinaw na pattern ng betrayal of public trust. Outcome 5. Hindi nagkaisa ang Senado. Failure to reach 2/3 vote results in acquittal by default. Kapag walang 2/3 vote, automatikong absuelto. The Lyceum of the Philippines Batangas offers a 3-year forensic science degree and a combined 5-year criminology and forensic science degree, bukod pa sa masteral and doctoral degrees. Visit the website to see more and mag-inquire. Next month, May 2026, start na ng enrollment for freshmen. 5. Pangwakas na forensic na pagsusuri English. The case hinges not only on the data, SALN's AMLC aggregates testimony and travel behavior, but on how each piece is interpreted, challenged, and validated in the Senate Impeachment Court. Tagalog L. Hindi lang datos ang magpapasya, SALN, AMLC, testimonya at pagbiyahe, kundi kung paano ito binibigyang kahulugan, kinokontra, at sinusuri sa Senado bilang impeachment court. Ang pagsagot laban sa mga ebidensya na inilatag sa pamamagitan ng social media ay walang saysay. Dapat ay umattend si Vice President sa Kongreso at doon niya ilabas ang mga explanations at pagkontra sa mga ebidensya. Dapat ding isipin na ang mga happenings na yon sa impeachment ay makaka-affect sa candidature ni Vice President sa Presidential 2028 elections, matalo o manalo siya sa impeachment. Sa mga boboto sa 2028 elections, dapat ay bumoto wisely at iboto ang mga nationalistic candidates. Huwag iboto ang mga makapili o kumakalinga sa mga banyaga na gustong sumakop sa ating bansa. Mabuhay ang mga Pilipino! Mabuhay ang mga Pilipino! Mabuhay ang mga Pilipino!